Hello there, great person, and welcome back to Let's Dive into Warhammer 40k. Today we will look at the Battle of Macragge, or Macragge, or Mercragi, or whatever it's called. I mean, it's a planet, and I know that it's a battle Tyranids versus Space Marines. This battle is kind of cool to look at because that's actually the first contact I had with Warhammer 40k, like when I was very, very young. So I had this guy that I knew. He was kind of a dick. It was really like, he was like, hey, you know what I have? I have these little figures and they're pretty cool. Huh, look at them, you don't have them. And I was like, oh, they actually really look pretty cool. Let me look at that. And then I looked it up and I really liked the Tyranids there. And I read up a bit about them, and that's how I had my first contact with it. It was unfortunate that the guy never let me have look at the figures really or whatever. He just said, yeah, got them. You don't. Tough luck. See, I've got cooler toys. It was very, very frustrating. So you see, I've got a trauma when it comes to this, but yeah, jokes aside, we will today find out what exactly the Battle of Macragge was, Macragge, and I can't wait for it because, as I said, this is my bit trip down memory lane. Let's see what I still remember from it. I don't remember a lot. I know it's first contact, I think, but I think that's all I know. And yeah, by the way, if you missed the live stream for the 2K subs, I looked at some Games Workshop pages, not the 40k one, but the Horus Heresy and the original one. So if you're interested in that or some other stuff, you can go to the video, and I will just link it here, I think. And you can go to the timestamp where it is. So yeah, let's go. Let's see what it is all about and have some fun with the Battle of Macragge and see what it was all about. So, as you can see, today we're doing Luetin again, because why not? I have not had a video of his in quite some time. And yeah, by the way, let me know what you want next. Do you want the Night Guard? Or whatever they are called, the Vampire Legion? Or do you perhaps want... What else was I thinking about? Word Bearers? Word Bearers? Or do you want Lionel L. Johnson? Just let me know. Oh yeah, by the way, I didn't get the book about Lionel L. Johnson as a hardcover because they had 300 copies or whatever. I can't read it. I don't want to read it ebook because I don't like reading like that. And anyway, let's get into the video. Let's see what Macragge is all about with Luetin. And as always, go to his video, like it, and watch it first, and then watch this one because yeah, I'm just reacting. And if you like my reaction, consider liking, subscribing. Okay, let's go. In the grim darkness, there's only war, as always. Oh, great. I hope that's not copyrighted. Tyranids are creatures from our darkest nightmares, but remember this, they can bleed and they can die. Yes, they can. Oh, there they are. Great. Oh, it's Ultramarines, I think. Correct? Okay, let's go. Is that Macragge? Tyran, an ocean world. Imperial Research Station. Okay, what's gonna happen?
The Imperium of Man first made contact with a new Xenos species at the planet of Tyran. Imperial explorators, who are Mechanicus tech priests committed to exploration and exploitation of new planets and regions in the galaxy in the name of the Imperium, discovered a strange phenomena where planets previously recorded as lush and verdant were now barren husks.
I see. Tyrant. That's why they're called Tyranids, because they were first found on Tyrant. That's great. I like that. That's creepy already. It's like this trope of the stars are going out. Why are the stars going out? What's eating them? A bit like Doctor Who or in Hellstar Remina.
Not even a single cell of life remained.
Yeah, they sucked it dry.
While this disturbing fact was immediately reported, the slow-turning cogs of the Imperium's bureaucracy was, as with most things, likely to raise not much more of an interest than the lift of an eyebrow.
Great,
Stranger
idiots.
and more deadly things are likely occurring at almost any time than a planet simply just becoming a dead rock. Still, as the explorators...
I'm sorry, what? There are planets that are suddenly barren and desolate without life being sucked from them, and you're like, yeah, probably nothing. Probably nothing. There are some orcs over there, let's just kill them.
would continue to report these strange
Brilliant,
dead
guys.
worlds. A fleet of Xenos
1000
previously
IQ play.
unrecorded would be drawing ever closer.
Oh, that looks so sick. Oh, I love it. I love the Tyranid motherships.
A survey craft returning from studying these destroyed worlds encountered a strange cloud of unidentified objects entering the edge of the system.
Ooh, that's
After
so
taking some
creepy.
damage from strange organic mines in the edge of this cloud, the Imperial ship would manage to survive back to an Imperial base orbiting Tyran Primus with the disturbing reports. Days later, the Xenos fleet would now descend from the skies down to the surface
That's
of
so
Tyran Primus.
creepy.
The main base on Tyran was a heavily fortified bunker system designed to withstand the ferocious storms of the ocean world.
Yeah, of
Coupled
course.
with the fact that its location on the edge of Imperial territory made it a likely target for Xenos attacks.
Oh, that also makes a lot of sense, because I think the more ocean you have, the stronger storms you can get, but I might be wrong on that one.
So 4
Very cool.
immense planetary defense lasers were situated on the outpost,
Yeah.
along with void shield generators, which are a form of gravitic energy field. It is typically utilized to defend super heavy vehicles and infrastructure. Often you see these used by starships and titans in the Imperium.
Yeah.
Void shields displace ranged attacks by distorting space-time around the point of impact.
That's so
The
cool. I love
outpost
them.
was then further supported by an array of other weapon systems, including autocannon and las cannon, as well as various heavy bastions and bunkers. The defense complement itself was also formidable, with 3 full navy wings and a force of Skitari, as well as finally an entire infantry regiment of Imperial Guard.
Yeah,
Standard
they're gonna
deployment
get
for
gobbled
any
up.
frontier planet that had been deemed the standardized force strong enough to repel most enemy assaults. The alien horrors began to fall from the skies in an array of colours and strange storm-racked skies. The Imperial ground gunners attempted to engage and prevent any of the invaders from making planetfall. But just as suddenly as they'd begun, this attack from the strange unseen species would withdraw. Is this all they have? What an easy victory, mused the...
Oh, you're so fucked. You're so fucked, mate. Oh god, I love it. That would make a cool movie, by the way. Imagine that I could do that, like this planet. You go a bit with some people there. They're fortified. You've got some ocean shots and stuff, and suddenly it's like the sky distorts, and like already the start with the probe, seeing the weird nebula and the planets going dark and stuff. That would make for such a cool movie as well already. I love this. It's so cool. So cool. Oh man, yeah. Also, it reminded me, like, all the colors in the sky reminded me a bit of Color from Space, but obviously has nothing to do with it. It was completely different, but I don't know, I just got that thought. I don't know.
The Imperial defenders. This ignorant overconfidence would soon be tragically misplaced.
Yes,
Major
it would.
Svarnak ordered a fleet of Imperial Navy cruisers to continue to harass the withdrawing Xenos,
You're so
just to
dead,
make
mate.
sure of their retreat and assumed broken morale.
Broken morale from Tyranids. That's so funny. I mean, I can't fault them. They know nothing, but it's like, oh, we broke their morale. Joke's on you. They don't have morale.
This command, the Imperial ships would quickly discover as they pushed through the spore mine clouds that masked the Xenos fleet, they would see not a few, not even 100 of the strange bioships, but in fact thousands.
Oh, that's
Having
so
suffered
creepy.
minimal, if any, losses from the initial planetary engagement, swarms of Xenos ships would seize upon these easily stunned prey as they rounded on the Imperial ships.
Oh god.
The first to be physically shredded was the Emperor's Fist, ripped apart by small invasive organisms spewed forth from a larger alien vessel.
Oh
As
god.
the others were similarly cut to pieces or ripped apart by tendrils, the now absolutely panicked
it had
last
eyes.
surviving ship were able to dispatch a warning to Tyran.
Oh my god, it had eyes. Look at that. It had eyes. Oh, it's so creepy. I love it. Oh, it's so creepy. Oh god, look at this weird a-hole. Look at the shit face. Oh man, look at it. Also, it's like the Tyranid warrior drone things or whatever is running into it, like the termagants and hormagants, I think. They run in. They're like antibodies. It's like it was a snake that bit it, and now the venom or the whatever like is going into the ship, and they act more like little cells or whatever, like little bodies or whatever you call it. I don't know the term in English. Like from like what you have, like an immune system that is taking over the ships, and obviously they rip them apart as well with their weird shit-faced ship things that eat ships, apparently. I mean, yeah, it's so cool. Oh my god, I love this.
Dispatch a warning to Tyran. While in the process of doing so, gene stealers had been unleashed into the ship's interior, efficiently and brutally slaughtering the entire crew complement in minutes.
Great.
While in the background, other ships were already being absorbed into the fleet's bioreserves.
Oh god.
Xenos would now return to the orbit of Tyran, and there would be no respite this time. No withdrawals. Many thousands of their mycetic spores rained down to the planet's surface, with the Imperial outpost defences having little success in preventing them from doing so. As the ocean around the outpost began to foam and boil, the Imperial defenders looked on baffled, more than a little concerned. What kind of horror was this attack?
More than a little concerned that the ocean is boiling. What the frick, mates?
Soon enough, their answer is returned as aliens the likes of which had never been seen before sprang from the watery gestation.
Oh god.
Imperial Guard would quickly turn to their instinctive training and even were successful in repelling the first waves of attack by these savage alien creatures. No doubt bolstered by the fact that among their number were Guard veterans from the Imperial death world of Katashan, a nightmarish jungle planet. The lower bioforms of the attacking Xenos were little match for most standard Imperial weaponry,
but their
Gauntled gene stealers would be significantly decimated. Things, though, began to quickly unravel as one of their planetary defense lasers would fall silent. It was literally choked and clogged by a mass of Xenos gargoyles that had been instructed from the hive mind to force themselves down into its barrel and inner workings.
Oh my god,
now the larger
so cool.
bioforms like Carnifexes would begin to appear, ripping through defenses and destroying further weapon installations.
Yeah, you're so
Xenos
fucked.
were turning the tables, and it was now only a matter of time before the guardsmen would be horribly dismembered and then consumed.
Oh god.
The outpost soon is overrun by the alien horrors.
Wow. This is the coolest Tyranid picture I've seen. Look at it. It's like, oh my god. I want them to look like this in the movies. Please, if you please, like, make a movie from this already. I'm already sold. I will like buy 1,000 tickets. I don't care. Like, make them look like this. Like, this looks so realistic, Geiger-esque, and oh my god, this is brilliant. Look at this one. Look at this one. Oh god, this is so oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, let's go.
Its heavy bastions and bunkers smashed to pieces, enveloped by this highly aggressive Xenos.
It's gonna be my
Only Tyran's command bunker remained.
Oh man, I love
already
this.
Beginning to buckle and crack under the weight of unrelenting damage being wrought to its exterior by huge aliens smashing their way inside.
I mean, they got one.
Major Varnak saw there was no hope. This was the end.
Yes.
The few remaining Imperial Guard in Skitarii would fight down to their very flesh and bone before these savage invaders would seethe and flow through the command bunker's corridors. Major Varnak would pray to his Omnissiah before sending a data codex deep into the lowest levels, specially constructed as a kind of black box for the outpost. This data would be their legacy to the Imperium of Man, its records providing essential information for the Imperium and humanity.
That alone was badass, and what I absolutely loved is the description of the Tyranids like water. It's just like venom. It's like venom or blood with antibodies. It's just flowing into a planet and destroying, and like it's like It's like living acid going down, just fucking everything over. It's so badass. I love the Tyranids. They are so horrific. I love it. Very well done. 1 year later. Oh man. Tyrant Primus, yeah, Cryptman. Cryptman, you
As
arrived
Cryptman
at the
approached the now dead, sterile world, he discovered that it had been ravaged of all life, even its oceans and atmosphere.
Wow,
Searching
so
for
cool.
the standard Imperial data codex that is secured in such a catastrophic destruction of an Imperial outpost, what he
And you could, I'm sorry that I paused it, but you could do such a great movie. Like this would be the first half of the movie where you have this Tyrant. You are on Tyran, you get some characters and stuff, and then the Tyranids, like all of this happens, and in the end they just get fucked. And they're all dead. Everyone you knew was dead. No one escapes. And you suddenly switch characters to this guy. And it might start with him, it might start with him arriving at this world, like you see it, and then the movie starts, and he's like looking like, and then you see him go down, and then you see him bury up this black box, and then it goes switched on, and you think the whole movie is going to be the black box, but it's not. It's only half the movie, and then you get all of this, and it's, oh god, it might be so cool. And then now he goes in, and oh god, I'm sorry, I'm making no sense. Probably, I'm so excited.
found was more disturbing than he could have imagined.
Oh, this is so cool.
Seeing the videos and accumulated data of the Xenos assault, Cryptman would immediately leave the planet to communicate and convey the
he just
severity
fucked
and
off.
imminent danger posed by this new and horrific alien threat. A horror he would subsequently name Tyranids.
Yeah.
The planet of
Oh,
Tyran
God.
would hold
It's Cthulhu. It's a Cthulhu one. I've not seen it. I've not seen this one before. It's the Cthulhu one. Please tell me the name in the comments. You great people. Please tell me the name of this Cthulhu thing.
the morbid honour of now becoming their official designation.
Great.
Inquisitor Cryptman attempted to use his astropath on board to project a vision of his discovery to the Imperium's network,
But everyone
only
went
to
insane.
discover that this was not possible.
Oh, yeah,
Something
they
was
distorted it.
preventing the astropath
Yeah.
from communicating.
Yeah, they distorted.
This, of course, was the psychic disturbance caused by the Hive fleet. So he instead proceeded to the next nearest Imperial planet of Thandros in the hopes of
a black
establishing
hole.
communication,
I think that's a black hole here. Very cool.
only to discover this world had also been ravaged and was now a
Oops.
sterile, dead planet.
Oh no.
As is often the case with planets in the Imperium, sometimes entire worlds are lost without anybody even realizing it until years later.
Yeah, that's
Eventually,
kind of
after
dumb.
successfully establishing
Like,
communications, he was
monitor
ordered to
better.
proceed to the planet of Macragge, the Space Marine chapter homeworld of
Macragge,
the
okay.
Ultramarines. The alien fleet would be designated Behemoth.
Behemoth. Okay, that's
Thanks
Behemoth.
largely to the information gathered from the Tyran data codex, the Astartes and Imperial forces on Macragge were now able to formulate a plan in its defense. The chapter master Marneus Calgar quickly ordered its already immense, powerful defenses strengthened. In addition to the existing Imperial ships in orbit, more arrived daily, including massive strike cruisers and Ultramarines battle barges.
Okay, so it's Ultramarines. Yeah, so I remember that correctly. And also, by the way, I know from Infinite and Divine that the warp drive sometimes spits you out too soon or too late. Like you almost never come when you want to come. So I hope they got enough people here. They didn't. I
One
know,
thing was
but
for sure, the Tyranid threat would have a far more challenging battle to be fought here than at Tyran and Thandros. It would not be until a month later that the Tyranids would finally begin to assault Macragge. Over 1,000 of the Xenos ships had been present entering the system and had now already ravaged the garden world of Prandium, a former lush paradise, a
not the
garden
garden
world,
world.
a glory to behold, and now a broken wasteland of death.
oh man, that's so cool. And the images he shows, it's so good.
Even with Cryptman's warnings, the first-hand accounts of the previously lush planet being turned to dead rock, Calgar was taken aback by the devastation of the Jewel of Ultramar.
Yeah,
Calgar
he's probably like, oops, that's not good. By the way, is their Primarch? Who's the Primarch? Is that a Gilliman?
As preparations, he would form 3 massive armies on the surface of Macragge, and as the first spores would begin to fall, the powerful Astartes regiments would begin their stand against the alien horrors.
Yeah.
Calgar himself had formed the largest of these 3 armies and would carry out repeated rearguard assaults to wither and crush the Tyranid swarms.
Yeah.
But the unrelenting weight and force of the Tyranids could not be suppressed, even with the power of the Ultramarines on their home planet.
Look at that.
On the planet's surface, Titans stalked the land, obliterating any alien swarms in their path.
Yeah, don't the Titans have flamethrowers sometimes? Like, I would have built everyone with, like, put flamethrowers and plasma bolters and everything in them and just shoot the shit out of the Tyranids. Perhaps it might help a bit.
The ferocity of the Tyranid assault was something never seen before by the Astartes.
I like
and some
Titan
even
design
saw
here.
the
This one is
colossal
cool.
Titans be dragged down to the ground before being brutally torn to pieces by the blurred forms of claw and chitin.
Yeah, it's like acid, living acid that like eats you up. Great.
First company veteran Ultramarines would lay waste to these foul Xenos horrors, but deep inside their bunkers, holding every piece of ground until it could no longer be held, but slowly retreating inside
it's
their
like
fortress.
an ultimate zombie
The attacking
attack.
Tyranids would be relentlessly slaughtered like an ocean of alien bodies, exploding, disintegrating and being vaporized by the unwavering but slowly withdrawing Astartes.
Also, what you have to keep in mind, they have not yet like taken in Imperial technology and Space Marine technology and stuff like that. So I don't even know if they have lictors and stuff like that yet. And they are still effing them up so badly. Like, they're wrecking the shit. Like, they're like...
As the fighting became ever more brutal and desperate, with much of Calgar's defense forces now slaughtered, one of the final battles would be fought on a location known as Cold Steel Ridge. The previously masterful rearguard army of Calgar here would find their match, as the Hive Mind had learned and adapted to his battle tactics.
Yeah.
To compound the situation, the
Like
Tyranids would deploy a bioform later classified by the Imperium as a Swarm Lord. This massive creature was one of the final forms to lead assaults on Tyran and
This is not even my final form! I'm sorry.
Andros, using the
looks so
power
sick.
of the
So
Hive
cool.
Mind. The Tyranids' previously mindless, animalistic, furious assaults now became viciously focused, even tactical.
Yeah.
Over the remaining hours, the Swarm Lord would launch attacks
God.
again and again, killing scores of auxiliary troops in the most savage and horrific ways imaginable,
And
no doubt in
devouring
an
them.
attempt to horrify and break the human enemy.
That as
Torn
well.
apart,
What?
flayed, penetrated, dissolved, eaten.
Like, they probably learned that from their starters they gobbled up because they know so much about horrors of war and stuff. So them like being dissolved into the Tyranid hive mind made the hive mind learn about those atrocities and human malicious things, and so they imitate human malice to frighten everyone. Like, they're not malicious, they're like eating, but they like use malice. That's a horror I have not yet thought of, like them having like that. That's so bad. Like, it's even God. It's like if a tsunami abuses torture prawn or whatever, I don't know, to scare people more than a wave coming and killing you. Like, that was a shit analogy. I'm sorry, but you know what I mean. Like, it's so horrific. I love that.
Alive, inside or out, the carnage continued on and on until the powerful Astartes began to appear outmatched by this previously mindless horror.
Yeah,
Sensing victory, the Swarm Lord, along with Tyranid warriors, thrust into the fight and engaged Calgar himself. As the Ultramarines circled to aid the chapter master, Tyranids lying dead sprung to life, evidently feigning death in a suppressed state by the Swarm Lord so as to launch unexpected attacks on the now compromised Ultramarine defenders.
So
Calgar would be torn and savagely injured by this assault. The remaining forces were forced into retreating to the battle barge Octavius.
Oh man.
One of, if not the strongest defences of Macragge was its polar fortresses and massive ground weapons that fired high into orbit, obliterating the Xenos raining down onto the planet. The Tyranids, now being highly aware of this concentration of firepower, proceeded to rain down thousands more spores in this polar area.
Yeah.
And Tyranids would now begin to appear in even greater numbers, and the fortresses were soon seething with alien horrors. With few options available, Calgar had to trust his planet-side Astartes would handle the tidal wave of Xenos, now engulfing their bunkers.
Spoilers,
so
they
Calgar would instead
wouldn't.
turn his attention to the Hive fleet, determined that if Macragge must fall, no other planet would.
So what did you do?
Despite the Imperial fleet and the remaining planetary defences engaging the orbiting bioships and destroying hundreds of them en masse, many more remained, and wave after wave would assault the ships in space and the surface of the planet.
Wow.
By the time the Tyranids were deploying their 12th wave of attacks, the orbital defences of Macragge were now essentially annihilated, and so the Tyranids would even further intensify their attacks.
Phase?
Calgar would attempt to seize on this by assaulting their ships in orbit. The Tyranids were spread out in their attempts to envelop the planet, and then they would start to now withdraw their bioships, pull the engaging Imperial space vessels away from Macragge so as to be unable to assist the forces on the ground, especially around its polar bunkers and outposts.
I love this malicious intelligence that rises in this mindless swarm, makes it even more scary. Like, how scary is that like there comes this biomass, this tide of assholes, like, but they're just like mindless idiots, but they come in the thousands and thousands. Suddenly you understand there is something in them that's malicious and evil, or that's just like using maliciousness it absorbed from you before to like fuck you up now. What great horror this is. I love it. This is brilliant. This is very, very Lovecraftian with a very new spin. I love it. Love it.
What the Tyranids could not have foreseen, though, was the arrival of the reinforcing battle fleet Tempestus, catching them now in between two Imperial fleets.
Okay,
but even so, the
chance?
Tyranid Hive fleet was far from outmatched, and likely both fleets could have been potentially destroyed were it not for the supreme sacrifice of the mammoth Emperor-class battleship Dominus Astra. It would plough straight into the heart of the Hive fleet and sacrifice itself by detonating its warp drives, subsequently creating a warp vortex and dragging itself and the entire Tyranid fleet into total oblivion.
Okay, so they did what I thought they would do more often. They threw a black hole at it. I know if you've been in the foundation reactions here, like if you've been longer on this channel where I did my science reactions and stuff, you know that's always my solution in science fiction: throw a black hole at them. Like, last resort, throw a black hole at them. It's basically a black hole, it's just a warp black hole, but yeah, like, also the ship's name is Astra Dominara or whatever, like a dominator of stars, which is it fits with it creating a black hole. Also, that seems to be pretty effective, like detonating a warp drive. Like, what? Like couldn't you load warp drives on ships and fly them in and detonate them? Wouldn't that be good? Like, why sacrifice all the soldiers? Like, why not build ships with only warp drives that you can detonate and fly it into Tyranid ship fleets? Or is it too expensive? It's probably that it might destabilize the warp. It would just F up the surrounding area, I think. So that's why they didn't do it, because it's too much damage to the materium. Yeah.
Calgar's remaining forces rounded to return to Macragge and save the few, if any, Astartes forces that had managed to hold out in overwhelmed polar fortresses.
Oh, they're
Contact with the first company.
I like that they turned whitish, the Tyranids, on the polar regions, and that they adapt to the surroundings like chameleons.
Veterans had now long been lost as the Tyranids overran the polar outpost, and Calgar, concerned by this, deployed the 3rd and 7th companies by drop pod to the polar regions. As the Marines burst from their pod deployments, the scenes that met them were beyond belief. Hundreds of thousands of shredded and compounded Tyranid bodies lay piled as far as could be seen, and huge craters existed where plasma weapons and Titan reactors had gone critical, pocketing the surface of the land. Linking up quickly with any surface survivors, they pushed down into the depths of the outposts, clearing any Xenos they encountered.
Yes, I need a movie. Like, that would be such a great final battle, the ship going in, creating a black hole or whatever. That would be so sick. Like, this is the one where I think a movie about this with real people acting in the war, like real Imperial soldiers and Astartes, and having good characters, because you need that as well. And there might be one that then moves up the ranks in the Space Marines or whatever, and you will follow him sometimes in the movie universe, or perhaps that. But I don't know. But this could be such a good movie because this climax is awesome. Like, imagine that all hope is lost, and you know this you might have been with one of the captains of this ship that flew into the Behemoth Hive fleet, and then it detonates and it's like this honorable death or whatever, and creates this black hole. And I'm already seeing the movie in my head. I need that. Please let them do this one first. I don't know. There are probably other stories you could do first, but this one would be one of the things I think that would fit for a first movie. Perhaps. Do you agree or not? Like, this is so awesome. It would be so expensive if you do Tyranids right. Like, I want them to be done this Geiger-esque horror like they did in this one picture I discussed already, because that's awesome. I want that.
The third company, though, on landing was far less successful and came under heavy attack as soon as they made planetfall. Many hundreds of Tyranids sprang from the dark outpost entrances to engage them, but heavy fire from the Marines and Thunderhawk gunships overhead crushed them and drove them back into the darkness of the reinforced outposts. On entering the darkened corridors of the outpost as the 7th Company had done, the 3rd began to notice how walls and structural elements were dripping with mucus, and it seemed that in many places solid material appeared to be breaking down.
Yeah,
they would lay down heavy flame units through the corridors to clear their advances,
Brilliant.
slowly progressing deeper into the bunkers. As the 3rd Company continued to burn their way into the darkness, every step crushing alien chitin and acidic blood splashing everywhere, they slowly entered the deepest areas of the bunkered outposts in the polar
it looks so sick.
And it was here that they would finally find the last remaining 1st Company veterans. A single circle of Space Marines in Terminator armor laying slumped back to back, having been savagely ended by the Xenos horrors. There were no 1st Company Ultramarines remaining.
Wow.
They had been killed to the last man.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. Brilliant. Brilliant story. Like, Luetin did this
After
one
the
justice
nightmare that
so
was the
much.
battle for their chapter world, they faced the huge task of rebuilding their chapter, notably the veteran 1st Company, which had been so brutally obliterated.
Wow.
This task would be bequeathed to Chaplain Cassius, who would request to Calgar that the new 1st Company veterans be drawn from the ranks of those who had survived the tyrannic assault.
Yes,
as
that's
only
clever.
they could understand this threat and the consequences of a tyrannic war.
It also now makes a lot more sense that the Ultramarines are always the ones fighting the Tyranids and stuff, because they have this hatred in their hearts, I guess. Perhaps they don't on a conscious level, but I can see that, like, they got hit very, very badly, and they are the experts. So I get why they are in the media when it comes to Tyranids now. Like, I get that now. That makes a lot more sense, and yeah, I just hope it would also make for good movies or good shows or whatever when there are Ultramarines interacting with other chapters, and the other chapters are like discussing Tyranids, and they dismiss them a bit and stuff, and the Ultramarines are telling the horrors and stuff, and you could make great scenes about that as well.
These elite veterans make up the now reformed 1st Company of the Ultramarines. The battle for Macragge is a bittersweet victory for the Ultramarines, having been successful against such a horrific enemy, but also suffering such devastating losses.
mean,
the names of their
throwing a black hole at them worked. I mean, but come on.
fallen brothers are commemorated each
wow.
year, and their sacrifices remembered throughout the Ultramar system.
Look at that. It looks as if they built a whole chapel with the victims written on. Oh my god, that's so good. I want that to be the last shot of that imaginary movie I'm thinking up. Like, panning over it, like you have this one name, perhaps one of the soldiers on the ship that sacrificed themselves, and then in the end, you have one of the characters that survived. Look at that, and it zooms out, and you see this great chapel of names, the thousands of names. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. I'm so excited for something that will probably never exist, but oh man. Oh, fuck me, that's so good.
And so the Tyranids would not be seen for
this.
over 200 years, until without warning in 993 of Millennium 41, a new invasion fleet would appear. Hive Fleet Kraken, which would now engage with simultaneous attacks on planets throughout the system. Eventually, this assault would also be repelled, but the Tyranids would again be detected by Inquisitor Kryptman in 997 of Millennium 41, only 4 years later. Kryptman was able, by burning out Astropass, to discern this new fleet Leviathan's intended course of attack through its targeted system. But despite some initial defensive successes, Kryptman would order the act of exterminatus on the world of Cordelis, the next planet in the Tyranids' path, so as to reduce their ability to increase their biomass.
Oh my god, that's so fucked. Man, but yeah, that's tactics on a galaxy level scale. You want to eat that planet? Produce more. It's like in an RTS game when you nuke the opponent's war factory, only that this war factory is a whole planet with living people on it, and you just like kill your own stuff. So,
despite Imperial Navy objections, Krypton would succeed in carrying out his exterminatus to the planet and its population with virus bombs. This catastrophic level of civilian deaths and his lies to the Ultramarines would enrage them and other Imperial forces. Worse would be to come though when Krypton would order the single largest self-inflicted atrocity in Imperial history, when he would order a system-wide scorched earth tactic by using exterminatus on every planet within the reach of Hive Fleet Leviathan.
Wow. Oh man, this is so well written and so cool. We could have some movies following this dude and in the atrocities he commits to save us from this tide of death. Like, why not collapse stars into black holes and be done with it? If you are like, why crack the planet's surface? If you can create black holes, why not like nuke things with black holes? Wouldn't that be more effective? Perhaps black holes are harder to control in the aftermath. Like, a dead planet is not a problem, but a black hole that flies around might be, so yeah.
So as to effectively starve them of biomatter. He would later, due to these actions, be denounced as a traitor to the Imperium and carta externis by his fellow Inquisitors.
Oh,
but
great.
Krypton still held loyal allies within the Astartes' Death Watch.
He knows.
The final fate of Hive Fleet Leviathan was far from over.
Yeah.
The Tyranids and their ongoing tyrannic wars would change the Imperium forever. But there are many who believe that their invasions of the galaxy have only just begun. Further examination of Imperial records after the Tyrannic Wars had begun revealed disturbing facts. Facts that suggest the Tyranids had been around for a much longer period of time, and that predatory creatures like the Katashan Devil and Fenrisian Kraken are actually ancient descendants of Tyranid hive fleets, perhaps long since abandoned or forgotten by the Hive.
Wow.
Records of the Ordo Xenos of the Inquisition have suggested Tyranid contact as far back as Millennium 35.
This image is so
Bioships of Tyranid configuration were also discovered on an ice planet after Imperial Guard was sent to deal with an orc threat there. Tyranids would burst out attacking the guardsmen sent, but they could not understand how this was possible, as no Tyranid ships were in orbit of the planet. Eventually they realized that as long ago as 7,000 years, a full Tyranid hive ship had crashed into the planet and remained dormant ever since.
Wow, that's so cool.
The prospect of it reanimating and sending out psychic distress calls is something that they could not allow to happen. Eventually, the Imperial forces are able to destroy the hive ship by enabling massive volcanic eruptions which consume and destroy the trapped ship.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well, and I didn't say it, so I can't say I told you so, but like create a super volcano or like use volcanoes and magma to melt them down. Perhaps that helps.
And all its horrific inhabitants. But these events suggested that the Tyranids had been present even earlier than Millennium 45, perhaps anything longer than even 1,000 years prior, and it also penetrated further into Imperial space than was previously thought. The prospect of other deliberately hidden or preemptively placed hive ships was a greatly concerning realization. But it's also possible that these earlier fleets were defeated and repelled by another race like the Eldar. The Tyranids are one of the most severe threats to not just the Imperium, but the entire galaxy. And even though they have wrought terrible destruction through the first fleets that have appeared, a much worse possibility exists, that so far the Tyranid hive fleets are just initial tendrils. They are really scouting parties of a much larger and exponentially more dangerous main fleet, as yet unseen, still travelling through the void toward the Milky Way galaxy.
That's so brilliant. That was so awesome. Like, that was so... Yeah, we cannot live through this. Mankind cannot live through this in a single day. They have covered the surface of this planet with a flood of living blades and needle-fanged mouths. Return research station. Oops. Rip mate. Have in the chat for him. Or in the comments, whatever. till 1 and 10 take its place, if they are truly without number, then our race is doomed to a vile death, before every shred of our civilization is scoured away by a force more voracious than the fires of hell. Yeah, mate, you're fucked, man. You're so fucked, all of you. Yeah, they're so fucked. So anyway, that was one of the best videos of 140k I've reacted to, I think. And I think it's probably just because I love Tyranid hit so much, but the way they were described by Luetin here was so much like more like raw and more visceral than I've ever heard Tyranids described before. And I think if they do a movie about something like this, and I always talk about, yeah, they could do a movie because we might get a universe there. But man, this scale of this alien invasion, weird monster stuff, like if they do that right in a movie, that could be beyond measure of horror, of alien invasion horror. Because the way this was described, I've never heard it described before, like an invasion force. Like we've had Starship Troopers, but that was more played for the fans. We've had, what else did we have with aliens invading? I only can think of Starship Troopers right now. So if there are movies like this that I miss, I don't know. But like this is so good. This is so brilliant. I love this. Love every second of it. So let's look at the shop, because I want to look up the Battle of Macrech. I love this. It's so good. So good. So let's see if we have a... Yeah, so this was the one I was thinking of. This was the one the dude had that laughed at me for not being able to buy stuff because I was poor. No, I just didn't have the money. Like, not because I didn't get a lot of allowance, whatever you call it, like that what the money children get from their parents to buy stuff and they save it up, whatever that is called. I did not have enough because I mostly spend it on books. So, and my parents did not allow me to buy something like this, obviously, because it was like, this one was like, what, 40 euros? Like, it was another currency back then. But anyway, so let's look at some pictures. So yeah, like we've got this. Yeah, I remember. And this was the box, yeah. And they actually had these parts here. Okay, it's very small. I don't know, I'm sorry. Yeah, I remember this. So we've got some Space Marine units. We've got I don't know what this. I can't read it. I'm so sorry. Yeah, look at this. Like, they look pretty sick. They look, and these weird spore things as well, and this weird blood pot thing. I know it's the biopond or whatever. Yeah, it looks very, very cool. Very cool stuff. Okay, I don't know why this picture's here. Yeah. Yeah, they look so cool. Little weird assholes. Little shit faces. Yeah, there they are. Like, it was Hormiguns and Termagants. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it was like 6, something like that, I remember. And we've got these things here, yeah. Like, it's... Anyway. It was pretty cool. Like, I think... yeah, I don't know what to think. This was awesome. This was very, very awesome. Like, I want more of this. This was... I did not expect it to be this good. Like, I thought it was another Luetin video where he, like, summarized stuff, and he did, but the way he did it with the music and the sounds and the images he chose, like, this seemed to have been a great event. And I think this might even have been, like, a great event like what you have now with the Primarch coming back, something like that. Was it like that back then? Like, was it this big thing? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this reaction. If you did, consider liking, subscribing as well, and tell me what you want next, and I will gladly react to perhaps Lionel, perhaps another Legion. I will do Last Church soon. I just don't know when I want to do it because I'm currently not having that much time, unfortunately. But yeah. Also, if you like SCP, check out my SCP reactions. I did the Yule Man. can look at it here, though. I was pretty harsh on it, and I laughed a lot and made fun of it because you will see. So don't expect me to be frightened by that one. So if you want to see me laugh at horror, that I think is not like, it was pretty disturbing in parts. So there were very good parts as well, but there are some parts where I laughed my A off. So if you want to see that, feel free to watch it. Anyway, I hope you have a great, brilliant day, and hopefully see you soon. And take care of yourself as always. Bye.